Hey everybody, Aaron here. Welcome back to another top 10 list. I haven't done one of these in quite some time, and I've been meaning to. I apologize, guys. It's been about maybe like a month since I did the last top 10, or maybe less than that. I can't honestly remember off the top of my head. But one of my friends on Xbox Live, who I'm not going to name his gamer tag because I don't want to, give him away, recommended me to do a top 10 romance list. And I was going to save this originally for Valentine's Day, but then I thought, what might be better of an idea on Valentine's Day is top 10 couples for romance. And I thought, what, that works a lot better. So I'm going to do my top 10 romance right now, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Now, like always, here are the ground rules real fast. These are not in order. The honorable mention is the only one technically in order because it's the one that I think does not make the list, but comes very, very close to it. Now, I'm not going to go into full reviews for any of these because, honest to God, I've reviewed every single one of them. You can find all of them on my channel. If you guys want, actually, I'll probably do that. I will probably put a link to each and every review I've done. There's only one anime I've not done on here, and I think that might be Chobits. I don't think I've actually reviewed. I might have. Actually, no, I think I reviewed all of these. Now I'm thinking about it, I'm looking at them. I have reviewed all of these. So I will put a link to every single one of these reviews in the description box below. Feel free to watch them and enjoy them. And on the outro, I'm going to have the link to the prior top 10. So you guys can look at that and, if you haven't seen it, if you're new to my channel and all that. Now, anyways, let's get on with this list because that's what you guys are waiting for. You don't want to keep hearing me talk. Maybe you do want to hear me talk, and that's still. Okay, so number one, or an honorable mention, I want to say, is going to be Love, Election, and Chocolate. Now, I was so close to putting this list, guys. I really was, but the only thing keeping it from being on the top 10 list was the fact that at times the show is not all centered on the romance elements. More so, it is centered on the comedy slash like drama issues of the show that happen. And the romance element is very strong toward the end of the series, but until you get to the end of the series, lo and behold, I can't recommend it as a romance anime solely by that. Now, I will say though, it is definitely worth watching. It is a great romance story. I love the way they make it very mature, despite it not looking mature. Not, I don't want to say initially, but more so after the initial set, because the initial setup is very mature and very brutal the way it happens. But I really highly recommend checking this out if you love romance anime and you want something kind of different for the romance genre. Now, next up is going to be Chobits, and it's the actual top 10, guys. So in case you haven't realized that yet, so Chobits to me is what I consider one of the coolest romance stories because it takes the concept of androids and what if they really assimilate with our society. If we actually start dating not just people anymore, but robots because they look like and act like us. What would that do for our society that's thrived off of regular human and human contact? I really dig everything about the show. I love Chi and Hideki's kind of love in the show. I think it's really nice. I think the manga is done always better. I always say that even when I reviewed this, I said that it's done better. But honestly, if you've never seen Chobits, if you're new to anime and you're looking for a romance story that you really have not seen before, you definitely have to check it out. Next on the list is going to be Shakugan no Shana. Now, season 1 to me is less romance than season 2 and 3 because this is a 3-season show. Season 2 and 3 are the focus on the romance elements, and that's fine because I think the first season really does a good job of kind of focusing on action and trying to get everyone set up to like who the characters are and what type of characters they are trying to be. And then season 2 and 3 come along and still have the action, still have the drama, but have the romance element built into them to make them even better. Now, honestly, I think that this show in general is something that does stuff that I wish more romance would do because it takes the risks of making an action show into a romance story because a lot of this is action, a lot of it is. And I really love that. I think this show is awesome. I think if you've never seen it before, you're crazy. You gotta go watch it now. But trust me, you will enjoy it fully. I promise you that you will enjoy it if you love kind of romance and action in general. Alright, next one is going to be Dusk, Maiden, of Amnesia. Now, if you guys don't know my top 50, this is like third place, I think third or fourth place, because Dusk, Maiden, Amnesia is, I consider, one of my top favorite romance stories of all time. I think the concept of, a ghost falling in love with a actual living person is usually cliched in a lot of mediums because it's been done before. I mean, if you go back to the old days of movies and stuff, you'll find it. But this anime really makes it so touching the way that, you know, it's just so random at times that these two would fall in love because of just one incident that occurred. And the relationship they share over the course of the show is something that's both moving, touching, funny, and enjoyable fully. I mean, honestly, guys, I would say that this is the anime of this. That if it was on my top 10, if this was actually in order, this would have been like number 3 or number 2. Honestly, out of all these anime that I'm mentioning, because it's just that good. Definitely check it out if you want something that's really romantic and really strong in the romance department. All right, next up is Golden Time. Now, Golden Time would also be within my top, I think, 4 or 5 on this list. Golden Time, to me, has issues. It has little small issues here and there. It has a few episodes that are kind of boring, sometimes a little too over melodramatic. But overall, Golden Time has something that I think more romance anime needs, and that's reality and also just a little bit of not reality. And I'm not going to say what that is exactly, but at the same time, this show is something that I consider one of my favorites because it's just so moving. And I love the romance between the main two, Bonri and Coco. I love these two characters. I think that they're so sweet, and I think they go really well together in the show. And over the course of the show, you're going to fall in love with these two, I bet you, if you really watch it. So I recommend highly checking out Golden Time. All right, next one is going to be one of my classic favorites, Please Teacher or Onaga Teacher. Now, many of you know this already, so I'm not going to go into the background story too much, but I watched this when I was a lot younger, and I honestly loved every kind of concept of the show. I loved the kind of accidental romance these two have, and I love the fact that she's actually an alien, he's a human, and because of circumstances, they end up having to marry one another to kind of keep everything a secret. I think this show is awesome. I really do. I think it's amazing. And what's ironic was actually it was gonna be I was gonna put another one of this. I want to say not spin-offs, but kind of more so tie-in stories. Waiting in the Summer. I was gonna have that in my top 10 romance story also, but I figured I don't know if I want to have both Please Teacher and Waiting in the Summer on the list. And while both of them are very good, I still think Please Teacher has a place in my heart as being a little bit better, just a little bit, just a little bit. Highly recommend checking that out. I also will put in the description box below Waiting in the Summer under Please Teacher. Even though it's not a recommended or more so even not honorable mention, I still feel like you might want to see that. And I kind of almost want to debate putting both of them side by side. So that's the reason why. So I'll put my link to my review on it if you want more information about the Waiting in the Summer. And hope you guys like that. Next one is gonna be 5 centimeters per second. I love this show. It's more so a movie. I love this movie. I think it does the most interesting stuff of romance in that it makes it the most realistic. Of all the shows on this list, this is the most realistic, where love is not always, done by the same people that you think it's going to be done by. I think that this anime is sometimes melodramatic, but for good reason. Not melodrama because it's just trying to go for melodrama. More so, it's embedded into the show as a means of real life. Our main two characters are love struck at the beginning, but then fall apart because now the distance is with them, and they grow up and get older, and now have different kind of responsibilities and different love interests. I love this show. I think it's amazing. I keep saying show, but it's a film. But to me, it's almost like a show because it's split into actual multiple arcs. But I highly, highly recommend checking out 5 centimeters per second. It's an amazing, amazing film. All right, next up, we're almost done, by the way, guys. Next up is Toreador. Now, Toreador, I actually had a discussion with my friend recently about this, but Toreador, in many ways, was originally, before Golden Time, my top, I want to say top 3 romance stories, and it kind of dropped down a little bit because of Golden Time. I think Golden Time is a lot better than Toreador. Not because of the characters and not because of, story per se, but just because I think everything about Golden Time works a little bit better, but I don't want to compare, to me personally, this is my personal opinion, and I watched a video about this earlier. That's why I kind of am putting this into the spin of what I'm talking about here. I don't want to compare Golden Time and Toreador, and I think that you should not either. If you watch these shows, do not compare them to one another. Watch them with open minds of they're just two entities completely. You know, they're made by the same creator, and that's why most people put them in the same category. But I think that's unfair because Toreador has a lot of perks and a lot of advantages over Golden Time, while Golden Time has a lot of advantages and disadvantages compared to Toreador. It's the concept of anime. You know, no anime per se, even if it's similar, is going to be the exact same thing, and that's a good thing. You know what I mean? I highly recommend checking Toreador out. I think it's got a very nice, I want to say almost love rectangle that forms in the show, and it's not because it's a forced one, but more so because of conflicts and interests that the characters have originally, leading up to kind of a nice romance story at the end. And I don't want to say at the end, like the very end of the show. There's a romance story all throughout the show, but the romance that wraps up in the show is very good at the end. I love it. I hate the actual ending of the show, but the show overall is still amazing. It's still worth watching. Highly, highly recommend Toreador. All right, next up is Canon. Now, I really was like, wow, I don't know if I want to put Canon in, I want to say like the top 10 list initially because it's many ways a harem, and at least the initial onset. And it's not trying to be per se a harem, if that makes any sense. It's something that's trying to be a romance story that goes into harem elements and then gets out of them quickly because it's not focused on them. Canon is a touching story that is, you know, from the creators of Clannad and all that. Honestly, I love Clannad, but I love Canon also because I think Canon does a lot of things that are very mystical and beautiful. If you guys need more information, of course, check out the description box below. I've reviewed this in, I think I didn't review that long ago, so it should be relatively new. But definitely recommend that if you love romance stories and you want something that's very touching and moving, can't go wrong with Canon. Now, the next one coming up is about the same in concept, Angel Beats. Now, if you guys, I swear to you, my top, or at least not top three, but more so my top anime on this list are going to be key animations, but I don't mean that per se, but it's just how I figure it works out that way. Angel Beats is awesome. You know, it's a story of those who are dead essentially fighting in a kind of limbo state, you know, making bonds with one another and exploring what it is to be dead and what it is that their lives were originally like and what would have happened if certain things went with their lives instead of other things. I think this show is very touching. I think it's very moving. I personally love the last episode. It is one of the few anime that brought me to tears because I think it's really touching. And I think this show is very nice because I think what it does is it almost has like two arcs. It almost has the comedy arc and then the kind of drama slash romance arc. Highly recommend Angel Beats. You will not go wrong with this show. It's very short. It's like 12 episodes long. Do not watch the 13th episode. It's like an OVA. It's hard to find even online, but don't watch the 13th episode. I think that it's kind of ruins the ending of the show, but that's just me personally. Anyways, almost done, guys. Wow. I can't, you know, this is 13 minutes, yet it does not feel like, when I'm actually recording this, does not feel like 13 minutes. The next one is going to be Kokoro Connect. Now, Kokoro Connect is what I consider awesome. You know, this is a romance story that has a twist and turn at the end that I think was very nice because it's also very similar to 5 centimeters per second, that not everything always works out exactly how you plan to. And I love that. I love when anime does that very successfully. I think the show did it very well. I love the romances between all the characters because all the characters do have little romances here and there. And, you know, some of them are going to get crushed at the end and some of them are just going to flourish. And I think this show has the whole scientific concept because of the kind of reason why they all get to one another and why everything's happening to them. Because this show, if you need more information, is a very odd show. It's very different. And it's a good thing. I mean, I love this show. I think it was like an A rating on my A through F score. Definitely check out Kokoro Connect if you want something that's just a little different than your usual romance stories. Finally, Clannad. Now, I told you guys earlier in the beginning, so if you knew my personal likes and favorites, you knew where I stood with Clannad. I will say right now that Clannad is not per se on the top of the list, even though it is on the top of this list and being the last one presented. But I'm not gonna say which one beats Clannad. I'm gonna let you guys try to figure out if you could which one you think I'd like more out of every single one of these here. Clannad has a great story. It has some touching characters. It has some very real world and kind of craziness to it here and there. But it is a show that makes romance stories look almost inferior to it in a lot of times. I mean, this show does so well with romance elements. Highly recommend if you've never checked out Clannad and I know a few of you have not on my list. I know a few of you that I know a few YouTubers. I'm looking at you, anime dude. Even though I mentioned the channel, I'll put a link to his description because he's an awesome YouTuber. Definitely check him out. And I feel bad now that I mentioned him and kind of called him out. But he didn't watch Clannad, and that annoyed me. I'm like, how can you call yourself the anime dude and not watch Clannad? You have to watch Clannad. You have to enjoy it. It's awesome. If you guys don't know, I really do love Clannad. It's still considered my top favorite anime of all time. So, But anyways, that is the top 10, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this. This was a pain to make, by the way, because I think that my feelings towards all these shows are very, very different and very diverse. I love these shows. I know you guys will too. Highly, highly recommend checking out any one of these lists. And if you guys need more information on them, again, check in the description box. I have all the links to my reviews for them in order. I'll put them in order of appearance, so it makes it easier for you guys to figure out which one's which. Because I'm not going to put captions stating which of these animes are what. So I'll do that more so in the description box. I'll put them in the list in order. Kind of spoils it if you go to the description box, then you'll know what the list is. But it's unfortunate. I want to do that because it's going to be hard for me to put captions on each one of these videos just for time constraints and all that. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the top 10 list. Please, please, I'm begging you guys, please share this. Please comment. Please like. Whatever you want to do with it, but please do it. These top 10s are a little bit annoying to make. At the same time, as much as I love doing them, they are a lot more work than my regular videos. So if you guys like them, show the like, show that you appreciate them, and I'll continue doing them. Otherwise, I really don't know if I want to keep doing these because they're really, as fun as they are, they're really pain in the butt to do. So I might only do like one every few months or one in every holiday essentially. And I don't want to do that, but Anyways, guys, though, I'm not gonna leave you guys on that type of note. Until we talk again later, have a great day, everyone. Have a great week. I hope you have good everything's good month. How's that? Anyways, take care, everyone. Bye.